Hey guys, it's Loves to Loom here. Today I'm going to show you how to create this really cool Corellia bracelet. This was created by Adele.Griffiths on Instagram. I will have her link in the box below, so you can be sure to check out her page. She does have some really cool designs on there, and every bracelet she posts just looks so beautiful with the colors, so definitely check her out. The name Corellia is from Star Wars, and the name was chosen by Crazy Just Might Work on Instagram as well. I did make another bracelet here using a different color pattern, but I do not like the colors I chose at all. But I still wanted to show you because I used the color pattern that she used, different colors, but the same pattern. And in this one, I kind of alternated. So you do have two options there. But yeah, this takes about 250 bands depending on your wrist size. It is reversible. That's the back side. Particularly, I think the front side is the best side. I think it's super cute. But yeah, so without wasting your time any further, let's go ahead and get started. To make this bracelet, to make a full wrap, you will need to have 4 looms because we need to have 5 pin bars set up in a stagger position, and then you'll have the next 5 in front of it. Also, you will need 1 C-clip and your hook. So you definitely want to take a moment to get a nice sturdy setup like so. Of course, the arrow is facing away from you. The first set of bands that we're going to lay is going to be the border color. So for this one, it's white. And my other one, here it is. I used the black here on the sides. So grab one of those colors, simply lay one here for when we close it up. And now what we're going to do is do the perimeter bands. So we're going to go up the right side. And then up the left side. Like so. For my wrist size, I go down, start counting 1 from this pin. I go up 19 before I bring it back in. So you definitely might need to adjust according to your wrist. But 19 up the side is what fit mine perfectly. I believe Adele's was 20. So we're just going to make a single chain going up the right and left side. I'm going to kind of do both sides at once. Once you reach 19, well, if you're following what I'm doing, once you reach 19, then you'll bring it back into the center. Okay, so I've just laid my 19th one on my right side, so now I just need to get the left side caught up. And now that I have 19 down here, we're going to bring it in to that middle one there and do the same on the left side, like so. So now we have all of our perimeter set up. So I would just take a second to go ahead and push down your bands because we're going to go ahead and add on our next layer. So now we're going to start laying these bands in here. I did the rainbow effect, and then on this one I alternated the green and the red. So I'm going to actually do pink and green. Now there's 2 different ways that you can do it. We're going to be laying them in a zigzag position on these pins here. So for this style, every other pin I switched colors. For this style, starting on this one, every V I made the same color. So that depends on how you want yours to look. So the very first pin going out here and here, we need to lay double bands. So since I'm using green and pink, I'll lay my pink, and then my green. And I'll do the same on the right side. I'll lay my pink, and then my green. So those 2 pins only, we want to have double bands. And now we're just going to strictly do the left side for now. So now we're just going to go all the way up in a zigzag pattern. But for this first one, I'm going to start with green again. I know the top is green, but the way that it comes out, being that there's a color on the bottom, I want to stick with the alternating colors. So green, pink, green, pink. And we're just going to zigzag that all the way up. And we're going to do the same exact thing on the opposite side. And that is where your last one will go. Right there. So you don't put anything going forward there. It should end right there. And, oh, and this one too gets a double band. I forgot, sorry. So add another pink on top of that one. Or whatever color you're using. So that pin there should have double bands as well. So come back to the beginning. And we're going to do the exact same thing on this side. So remember this very first one, if you're doing the same color pattern as me, you want to have it starting as the top color there, and then you can start alternating. Oops. So just go all the way up just like we did on the left side. And then I'll come back and show you what to do next. Okay, so I finished my right side. Just don't forget that you need to lay double bands on that very last one here. So push them down a little and come back down to the beginning. And now the next bands that we're going to lay are going to be up the center here and then here. We're going to lay some single chains just going up. And that's going to be the white that runs down the middle here and here and here. So I used white for all three. And I'm going to use white for all three on this one too. So just grab whatever colors you want to use. I'm going to start with my center here. We're just going to go straight up. You're going to lay that until you reach the very top. Like so. Then we're going to come back to the beginning. We're going to do that exact same thing on these 2 rows here. You can alternate, or you can just kind of go up one side and then back to the other. It doesn't matter. And you can even choose a different color if you'd like. I'm going to stick with white for all 3. So this is very basic. I'm going to go ahead and get these laid. When I reach the top, I'll come back and show you what layer to lay next. Alrighty, so once you've laid all those single chains, push them down a bit and come back to the beginning. And now we're going to lay these middle ones here where I have the Caribbean green and the gray, and I'm going to pretty much stick with those colors. And I'm going to use the same pattern where each V is one color. And by doing so, it creates these little dashes here to alternate. So if you just do every other pin like I did on the outside, on this part here, it will be all the same color little lines there. So, in order to achieve that, we need each little V going out to the left, like so, to be the same color. So my first pin here, I'm just going to start with gray, and that has to be double bands. And if you're doing it like I'm doing it, like this one, where it alternates, we don't start doing that until these pins the same color. So this should be one color, and then we'll do another color on this next one, which will be my teal. And now we need to do teal again. And then I'll do my gray. And teal. If you start with that first one being gray and then this being teal, it ends up not coming out correct because these get looped into that pin there. So, in case anyone's wondering. But like I said, you could do it all the same color. It's definitely your preference. So we're just going to keep doing this zigzag motion till you reach the top, and then we're going to come back and do the right side the same way. So go ahead and get those laid, and then I'll come right back. So when you get to the very last one here, make sure that you lay double bands only for that last one. And then you're going to come back to the beginning. And like I said before, we're now going to do the same exact thing on the right side. So make sure this very first one you're laying double bands. And make sure that you're also using the same color that you used on the left side, if you have more than one color. So you're going to do the exact same thing we just did on the left side. So go ahead and do that until you reach the top, and then we'll have one more layer to add on and we'll start looping. Alrighty, so don't forget the very last one needs to be double banded, and then we're going to come back to the beginning and lay our last layer. So the last layer is just going to be a single chain going up the very center. You don't see it a whole lot in the bracelet. I used black on this one. You can see it there stretching. So you don't really see it too much. And I used white on that one. So I'm going to just stick with black. So just grab your bands and go straight up the center. So go ahead and get those laid. be right back. Okay, so once you are done laying all of your center bands, turn your loom around, which I've already done, and we need to add a cap band onto the very first pin, just a regular cap band, like so. And now we can start the looping. So the first thing we're going to do is push back our cap band, grab the top band and bring it forward, like so. And we're going to proceed all the way up the center. So we're going to just loop forward everything that we just laid on the center. So I'm quite confident everyone can do this part because it is very basic. So to save on time, I'm going to go ahead and get mine looped up, and then I'll come back and show you what to do next. Alrighty, so once you've looped up your middle center bands, come down to the beginning again. And now we're going to loop out everything in the centers, okay? So we're going to loop them all back to themselves. So we're going to start on the second pin right here. Just push back the top cap band. And this first pin going down to the left and the right, it's going to be double bands. So just remember that there's 2 bands on there. You're going to grab that, bring that back to itself. These 2 coming down back to themselves. And that back to itself. We're going to go to the next one, do the same thing. Bring it back to itself. Same thing. And same thing. So we're going to go all the way up the loom, just looping these out back to themselves. Oops. So as you can see, we're going to do this all the way up until all of our middles are loomed out. So go ahead and hit the pause button and get yours looped out, and then I will come back and show you what to do next. Alrighty, so don't forget that when you loop the top 2 back out to themselves, they're double bands, so don't accidentally leave one in there. So this is what it should look like so far. Now the next part that we're going to do, you might think it's a little bit tricky. It's definitely easy, but it just might be a little different than what you're used to. So what we need to do is on all of the pins that we just looped out, we have to get the very bottom band. So there's 4 bands that are on there as far as the bands that we just looped out. So the gray and the teal, there's a total of 4 of them. We got to grab the very, very bottom band, and we're going to just, from the outside, and just bring it up and over. So make sure you're not grabbing the white single chain. You're grabbing just the very bottom band out of the group of 4 there. Then we're going to come up to the next one, grab the very bottom band, bring it up and over. You're going to do that on every single one. Just make sure you're grabbing that very bottom one. and it just sits along there. Because if you're looking from like right here, this might look like the bottom, but it's not. So just be careful. So I actually did just turn my loom around because I did realize that it is much easier being able to see which one's the bottom by this side. And there's enough of a gap to just easily grab it. So you might want to do the same thing. So this band right here, you can clearly see that that's the bottom. So just grab it, bring it up. We have to do that on every single one of those. So just make sure you don't miss any. So it will start looking like that. Got that little line going there. But if you didn't turn it around, that's fine. I mean, you can do it. It doesn't matter which way it's facing. I just realized that it was definitely more visible this way. And look, I accidentally didn't loop 2 bands out. Uh-oh. How did I miss that? Okay. Alright, so I'm going to go through and get all of my bottom bands pulled up. And then when I am done, I will show you what to do next. Just make sure you don't miss anything like I did. Okay, so once you've got all of those bottom bands pulled up and over, make sure your loom is facing yourself again, or the openings are facing yourself. And now what we're going to do, oh, and also make sure that the pins that had the double bands, you're still only pulling one very bottom band up, not 2. So I wanted to mention that also. Alright, so once you do that, now what we're going to do is loop up the center whites up the middle, and then we're going to do the same with the single chains on these 2. So all of the whites are going to be getting looped forward now. So you can do one row at a time, or you can kind of skip around, but I recommend just doing one at a time so you don't accidentally leave a band. So just go inside like so. Super easy this part is. I actually don't like how that band feels. It feels like it's going to break, so I'm going to swap it out for a new one. Alrighty. So that's what it's looking like so far. So come to the beginning again, and we're going to do the same thing on both of these rows. Just make sure you're pushing back the top layer of bands. I believe there is 3 of them. Yeah. 3 of them on top. Just push them out of the way. Grab your white and bring it forward. Watch out for your zigzag band. You don't want to accidentally grab one of those. So you're going to do that until you reach the top of your loom, and then you come back and do this row, and I will be right back. Alrighty, so once you have all 3 of those looped up, come back to the beginning, and now we can go ahead and loop at our zigzags on the sides. I'm going to do my left side first. So what we're going to do is go inside this pin here. Make sure you're pushing back all of the top layers. Grab that first zigzag band, and remember there are 2 of them on the first pin, and we're just going to loop that back to itself. Go back in that same pin, and you're going to loop that back to itself. We're going to do the same thing on this one. Make sure you're pushing back the top layer bands. Grab the top band, bring it back to itself. Go back in. Do the same thing, and they're all going to just come right back to their selves. So just keep bringing it back to itself all the way up. So that's what you're going to do. It should be looking like that. And then once you reach the top, you're going to come back down to this one, and you're going to do the same thing. Starting on the second pin, you're going to go in. Remember, there's double bands on that one, and you're going to bring it back to itself. And then you're going to go back in, grab it, bring it back to itself. Push back. Just make sure you're bringing them all back to themselves, and you'll be good to go. So complete both sides like that, and then I'll be right back. Do not loop up your perimeter after doing that, because we have to do something else. So just get them loomed out, hit the pause button, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, so once you've done that, everything should be looped out and looking like so. So now what we have to do is just like we did on these ones, we have to grab that bottom band and bring it up and over. So just grab the very bottom band and loop it up and release. Very bottom and bring it up. We're going to do that on every one. And this one's a lot easier because you can see it from the side. I did notice that the first set of double bands I laid, I thought I was supposed to lay my pink first up here, but it should have been my green, because as you can see, all of the bands that I'm pulling up are green, so all of my little lines are going to be green, but my top ones are going to end up pink because I laid that first. So I did make a mistake there, and if you guys did that too, I am so sorry. If it's a super big deal, you can technically do this. You could pop them off. Whoops, don't let that one go. You could take them off, put the green on the bottom, sit it on your pin, and then go back inside like that, and grab a hold of them like so, and then bring them back to themselves. And now the green's on the bottom. So now it will match. If you don't care, then you can certainly leave it. But if you do want it to be 100% consistent, then you can do what I'm doing and just swap it out. Putting the green on the bottom. I definitely thought I had it right, but obviously I didn't, so I'm so sorry. This one's a little tougher for me to grab. There we go. So yeah, that's what you're going to do. So go up the left and the right side, grabbing the bottom band, bringing it up. Once you have that completed, I'll come back and we will loop up the perimeter. So I'll be right back. So once you've completed bringing up all of the bottom bands, this is what it should be looking like all the way up. And the very last thing we have to do is the perimeter. So super easy. Just simply going to go in the cap band here at the very beginning. We're going to bring our bands out to the right and the left. And then just proceed up. Push everything back. Like so. Just make sure you're getting through all of the top layers. We're going to do this on both sides until we reach the top. And we will be able to C-clip it and pull it off the loom. So I'm going to get mine looped and I'll be right back. So when you reach the top, you should have just brought them into the center like that. We left a band here at the beginning for closing it up. So you're going to just grab a hold of it with one hand. You're going to go in the center pin, push back everything on the top, and look for that bottom band. Place it on your hook, and that is where we will attach our C-clip. Like so. So what we're going to do is pull it off of the loom. Now I haven't ripped this right off of the loom. I don't know if you want to do that, but I definitely would recommend to at least pop the outer layer off with your hook. So you guys are not going to believe what I just did. I was pulling my bracelet off of the loom and I went to stretch it out and I didn't have my C-clip on right, and the whole like bottom part of my bracelet completely just like fell apart on me. So I'm really bugging and upset about that. But we're just going to act like that's not there. And here is the super cute Corellia bracelet. I absolutely love this design. I think it's super cute. Here is the front side. There's the back side. To close it up, just locate your little cap band there and your C-clip. And voila. So I'm not going to show you that because it's so ugly. I totally messed it up. Alright, so there you have it. Again, this is the Corellia bracelet created by the wonderful Adele.Griffiths on Instagram. Make sure you check her out and give her a follow. She has an awesome account. Always has some beautiful designs on there. Even if they're not her own, she always just makes all the renditions look so beautiful. Thank you to Crazy Just Might Work for the name of the bracelet. Don't forget to tag us if you make this bracelet. Again, it's Adele.Griffiths and loves to loom. So thanks so much for making this and watching the tutorial. And I'll see you all at my next video. Thanks so much, guys. Bye.